Good afternoon, guys. So I just wanted to make a quick video. Well, depending on how long I'm going to talk on the subject, but what occurs around us all the time, and what I've picked up is that life really has no value. Like life alone, without our gadgets, our holidays, our work, really has no value. And when we actually, from the minute we're born, we don't actually we don't actually have a value on the grand scale of things. You know, like what we contribute to our ecosystem. And when you look around you in nature, every every insect, animal has a purpose. A rabbit, you could say, has a purpose because it's prey to an eagle or something, or to a fox. And a bear has to go out and hunt a deer or something. So everything has a certain purpose to the ecosystem we live in, except us. Except us because you know we're actually destroying the world. The world naturally is a beautiful place. When you're in nature, it's literally what the earth used to look like thousands of years back, where everything was just forest and trees and grass. And but now with civil society, modern society, it's you know new roads, new housing estates, new block paving, new everything, and fucking 5G towers. I mean, they're fucking lethal to nature. And this way of living does not appeal to me. Of in living in a city, living in an industrial part of town where everything is just fucking block paving, and buildings all the time, and fucking new new motorways, and you know the list can go on and on and on. But when we think about the Amish way of living, we don't have phones. We don't have smartphones anyway. They hardly depend on technology. You know, um, their farming is still uh, ancient farming, where they would actually plough the fields. Farmers these days don't plough. We haven't ploughed fields in fucking in a very long time. So yeah, you know, the point of this is that I think the only way we can actually be happy within ourselves is to give ourselves value in our own world. We can always create our own world, and what is important to us, what is an asset, what is actually considered important in our world. What I consider important might not be important to you. We give meaning to the cosmos. We give meaning to the universe. If we wasn't here, if humans didn't exist, um, the world would be so much greater, richer, and we are one of the fewer creatures out there that's not actually needed on Earth. You know, we're not needed. You know, people might think it's cruel to say that, but in terms of what's important to the ecosystem and the world, we are not needed. You know, the world is lived so much more than, you know, the world is been here so much more than we have been living on it. You know, there was a time before humans, there'll be a time after humans where the world will just keep going on, and the human race will be extinct. You know, will be extinct, and that's just part of life. Eventually, every animal, mammal fades out, becomes extinct, and it's just part of life. You know, I'm not trying to make this a depressing video. This is not what it is. It's more of giving my thoughts and opinions on what I think just is. You know, I don't really speak often on this channel as much, but when I do speak, I try to make it as much informative. I try to make it as informative and, you know, entertaining as possible. But right now, right now for me personally, I think my way of living, I would just love to just live off the grid somewhere, just, you know, strategize a way of getting enough income streams as possible, doing so many side jobs to you know, to build up a sum of money to be able to just live somewhere where there's hardly anyone. If there was any Amish villages in the UK right now, I would literally move there, because I really don't like mainstream society. I don't like this new way of living off people that's ever since social media has existed, in like the mid 2000s, like I think it was 2006, Facebook, or maybe 2004, Facebook came about, and then there was fucking Twitter, Snapchat, and so many people nowadays feel like they're fucking, you know, they feel like they're a celebrity. They feel as though everything they do, they have to announce. A lot of people are that fucking crazy and weird that if there was a news article tomorrow that fucking Prince Harry is taking a shit, so many people would, you know, just tune in to read that story online. And when everybody sees, it's like monkey sees, monkey do. So a lot of people nowadays, you know, take that incentive where, you know, they see stories what journalists have posted about people's lives and what they do, and they try to flip the table. And every ordinary person these days thinks that, well, I'll just make a video on my morning routine, being, you know, they set up a camera, you know, and it's so perfectly aligned in the room. The lighting has to be the best, and it's stupid because nobody in the morning thinks, oh, I will wake up and every day I will fucking get a bowl of ice, dip my face in it to wake up or whatever. Nobody fucking does that. And the people who do that, they don't fucking announce it. You know, they just do it. They don't, you know, they don't always fucking post it all the time. And I just find it very demenial to announce everything to the world what you're doing. It takes away of who you are, your identity, and, you know, in my opinion, if everybody knows what you're doing on and you're announcing it to everyone on YouTube, what's really special about you? You know, you've got to keep part of your energy to yourself. You've got to have a secret side to your life where nobody really knows about, or only a few people know about. You know, and, you know, I speak about the meaning of life, and really, we all have separate lives. There's like a massive life. There's just one whole life where it's life on Earth, but then there's divisions to that where everyone is living differently to a certain degree. We all have to eat, we all have to drink. So we all are different and we're individuals, which makes us us. But you know, a lot of the time, we all want the same things. We all want fame. We all want to be heard, and we all want to have something about ourselves. But sometimes I think that just sometimes just being silent, going away for a few months, years, and being that guy who does everything he says and thinks, and doesn't want anything in return from people, just wants to be and do and have a peace. I think that's one of the most respectful things you can do for yourself. Just go somewhere, don't announce it to anyone, just do it, because a lot of the time we seek some kind of reward, we seek validation from people. We think that, well, I'll do more for the boss in the office. You know, I'll do them extra things. I'll get them coffees for people, and we think that there's gonna be a massive payoff from people. We think we're gonna be on the top of the hierarchy, but we're not. But initially, but most of the time, genuine people do things that are, that's like hard work for themselves, and the payoff. Well, the payoff is they feel good about themselves. If I go out now into society and um, I decide to help someone carry the shopping over the road. I decide to help them with. I decide to help an old lady cross the road. I don't want anything in return for that. I don't want some sort of like money or whatever. I just want to know that, thank you. That's all I'd want. But these days, you see fucking YouTube videos where someone's recording another person who's on the streets, and this YouTuber's giving money to this supposed homeless man or whatever, even though it's most of the time it's a fucking setup. But even when it's not, they try to play the hero that but they say, oh well, do you want this money or do you want me to double it? There's always a catch to this, to helping a homeless man. Like, I'll give you $200, £200 if you do so and so, if you subscribe to my YouTube channel or whatever. Like, there's always a fucking catch. And these days, I think the reason why people have this fucking main character syndrome all the time is because YouTube is fucking up their brain. Literally, they see something on YouTube and it gets into their head. And so many people nowadays, since the monetization of YouTube, everybody's getting on this fucking social experiment bollocks and prank videos that's clearly set up. And there's more fucking fake stuff online these days than actual genuine videos. Mr. Beast can preach that he's a fucking saint, but it doesn't mean it's true. Like, you only know sides to Mr. Beast that he wants to reveal. When you've got a great PR team, they can look they can make you look for shit. You know, if you've got a really good PR team. So yeah, I think we need more genuine, real stuff. We need more genuine videos out there where it's not just out for monetary gain. And just more being genuine. But the sad reality is that most of the time, genuine interactions, genuine good deeds, are not going to be on a video. They're just not. Most genuine things are what you see every day, but nobody gives a shit. So stop seeking validation from people. Stop seeking validation, and always expect some sort of reward, because that reward may never come. Just know that you're doing a good thing, and just feel good about yourself. That's all that matters.